Welcome back, Pirtles Pod, episode 2. We're going to talk about the Rockets week this past week, first week of New Year 2024. We're going to talk about, sorry, I'm learning how to do the mic here. We're going to talk about the College Football Championship played here in Houston and who we think is going to win that. And yeah, that's it. So we're going to hit the Rockets first. My plan was to do 2 games and then do the other 2 games. That's kind of what our plan is, to hit the two. Um, didn't work that way. So we're doing all 4 at once here. We'll probably do 2 and 2 and so on, unless there's a reason to talk about an individual game or such things. But yeah, so if you'd have asked me before the week started, I would have probably said the Rockets will go 3-1, which is what they did. It's not necessarily how I expected it to. First game we'll talk about is Detroit Pistons. All right, so talking about the Detroit game. I mean, Detroit's bad. We know this. First game of the new year, though, as a Rockets fan, I was pretty nervous that we were going to be the ones to break the streak for a while. Luckily, Detroit lost or won the game before, so that wasn't a worry anymore. I was worried about getting the better twin. I know Soares had the better season so far. I mean, it's been hurt, and obviously it's the first year. They're both in different situations. But man, I wanted Ahmed to look better, and he did. He looked really good, as did Cam Whitmore. Torrey Eason had a great game. Most of the Rocket starters played about 27 minutes or less. It was a blowout, pretty easily handled. It was pretty close at halftime, and then Al P and Jalen Green, I believe, took over in the third quarter. And yeah, Al P finished with 26 points, 9 assists, and 4 boards, I believe. Jalen Green had 22 points, fairly efficient. Wasn't bad. Those two stood out to me that game. Torrey Eason had a really good game as well. And yeah, I mean, what do you expect? It's the Detroit Pistons. If it would have looked any different, it would have been alarming. But all right, the Nets game, another easy W. It was close at halftime, and I think we won by 11 at the end. But it wasn't really that close at the end. Şengün absolutely cooked that game, 38-6. Was very good, very efficient. They had Claxton and Sharp, and neither one of them could do anything. They were in foul trouble most of the game. And yeah, he just took advantage of that matchup. He was clearly just superior. Kind of think they're linked to physicality, and supposedly, they're supposed to be some good defensive centers. Didn't matter. Fred VanVleet, 21, 6 boards, 10 assists. Another stat just on Fred for the whole week. He has already beaten his career high in double doubles in a season, and we're 34 games in the year. He's been ridiculously good. Everything this team's needed. Obviously, if he could shoot more efficiently, that would be ideal. But he's leading the NBA in minutes, and he's still, been the leader this team needs, and really facilitated the offense. And at times, it's looked bad without him. So, just glad to have him, to be honest. Jalen Green struggled in that game. I think he shot 5 for 15, but he did serve as a decent secondary ball handler. He grabbed some boards. I think his defense, overall in this whole week, his defense was very much improved. The effort and just what he was able to do, I think, was much improved. I actually loved. He didn't play great every game this week. He had a really good first game of the week against Detroit, and then against Minnesota, he was definitely our best player, I would say, probably. The other 2 games, he was this game, he didn't shoot well against the Nets, but he did some other things. He played some pretty good defense. But particularly later on against the Bucks, again, it wasn't his best scoring game, or he wasn't amazing out there, which is not what we don't need that. We don't need that. Like, yeah, it's good to see that flashes, but we need consistency. We need defense, secondary ball handling, rebounding, knocking down the shots, attacking the rim when that presents itself. All things I think he did pretty good all week, right? Like, this obviously not his best game, but it's not one of the games where it's like, ah, man, he's unplayable. So, and I think the first half of the Bucks game, if I remember correctly, I have it in my notes here, but he looked bad. Looked bad. Looked like, oh, well, how do you just have? Because he had a really good game against Timberwolves, and then he just goes, he looks unplayable again. I don't, I don't think that's the case this week. And he rebounded well. Him and LP were cooking in most of these third quarters this week. Big third quarter team. Jabari struggled. He was 2 for 8 from the field. Not his best game, but he had 12 rebounds. He's still contributing on defense. Ahmed Thompson, again, back-to-back games, he built those looking good, looking better, and actually getting some point guard minutes behind Fred. And I think this is the first we've actually seen some Cam Whitmore minutes in this game. And oh my gosh, they looked amazing. He looked great. I was so excited he actually got some rotation minutes. Obviously, we're missing Dylan Brooks and Tari Eason, but I think he's playing so well. It's hard to deny him real minutes right now. I don't know what are you gonna do? Like, the G League does nothing for him. He needs those minutes to develop, as you can see as we come to talk about the Timberwolves game. He struggled a little bit. Both him and Amon struggled a little bit, definitely early. I think he got it going a little bit late. But their defense and stuff with pressure and the physicality they played with, both rookies struggled and did not play the best. Let's move into the Timberwolves game. Really, the whole team played bad. Also, you see a cat coming here. Sorry, they need some attention. Really, the whole team struggled. But that second unit with the rookies and such really kind of started it off. It wasn't a great start to begin with from the starters. They weren't hot coming out. The energy wasn't there, but they were in the game, right? The rookies came in. The second unit came in. Wasn't good. Slow start. Turnovers. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah. Okay. So slow start. Number one, which is something this team has kind of been known for this year. Slow start. Turnovers were horrible. It was one of the worst. This was probably the worst game the Rockets played all season. But it's crazy they still had a chance to win until the fourth quarter. Like, I think it was 11 or 12 going into the fourth quarter that we were down. And then we got blown out in the fourth quarter. I don't know what happened. Alp was cooking Gobert. I had huge expectations for him this game. I know Gobert is a defense player of the year, but he's not like super mobile. He's not a great one-on-one guy, right? He's not. And Alp took advantage of that. Started off, I think he had 11 in the first quarter, and then he ended with 19. And yes, like, his aggressiveness kind of died down, but that wasn't all of it. He was rushing. He was rushing. The physicality, obviously, having Towns as well. Like, it wasn't easy mismatches from those switches, and I think the physicality got to him, and he was rushing. He was rushing his shots. He was rushing to the rim. We were getting behind, I think, and he, instead of slowing it down and kind of taking the offense over and be like, all right, look, I got this. Like, it's okay. Like, he'd catch, and I love the quick moves and all that stuff. And then he'd get into a bad situation, and he would just try to, like, pump, whatever. Like, just kick it out, just reset, whatever. I would say this is statistically, it wasn't the worst game, but it was not good. The pitch wasn't good, and the way he controlled the game was not good. But he's young. He's 21. He's not going to be perfect. He's been great this year, but there needs to be some improvement in that area. I think Jabari was great. Jabari, really looked good in that game. Let's see the stats here. Yeah, 16 points, 9 boards, and some good defense. So yeah, Jabari looked good. Played well. I think his defense was great. Big player of the game, if we had to have one before our worst game of the year, was Jalen Green. He came out in the third quarter and really kept us in the game. He had some huge shots, some tough shots, fouled, hit a three for a 4-point play. Really played amazing. It was good to see. He's been good in these third quarters, and that was one of the times where, hey, we need somebody to go get a bucket, keep us in this game, and he did that. He did that well. Unfortunately, fourth quarter kind of fell apart. Bench shooting looked bad. Pretty much everybody looked bad except for Jalen Green and Jabari. Fred wasn't great. But yeah, it looked bad. The effort was just unacceptable. Don't matter who's out. Tari, Dylan Brooks, doesn't matter. The effort was unacceptable. I'm not going to lie. It's the worst game of the season, in my opinion, except for maybe the Magic game to begin the year. But it was bad. It was a bad loss. Yeah, they're the best team in the West. But they didn't it wasn't like, oh, wow, we played good and they just beat us. Like, turnovers and just poor play overall just beat us was the main problem with that. But hey, they answered coming and beating the Bucks, blowing them out in the first half, 63-43. There was a great defense. The Bucks are one of the better offenses in the league, very high scoring, and we held the 43 points in the first half. Yeah, they had a pretty good second half, put up 43, 65, whatever. But Giannis shot 21 free throws, and pretty much it was like, hey, let Giannis do his thing. Don't let anybody else beat us. And that's what we did. And we got to a better start, which I didn't expect, playing another good team on the second night of a back-to-back. I expected it to look very similar to the first night. I think we'd have better effort because, it could have been much worse. But I think that they came out. Ime's really good at getting these guys going. It broke us from losing 3 games. Every time we've lost a game this year, up until this point, we've lost 3 in a row. So that was good that we actually won this game. Broke that streak. Got us to 18-16. I believe we're 2 games out of the 6th seed and like 1.5 in front of the 9th seeded or 11th seeded Lakers. So we're right in the thick. It's gonna be a tight race down with the play-in and everything. But the consistency of this team, I think, has been good. I think there's no way that they missed a play-in. But I've been wrong before. Moving on. Şengün still didn't look great. He looked good. Wasn't super efficient. And if that's a bad game for him, it is what it is. It's not that bad of a game right there. But he was rushing. I still felt like he was rushing. Admittedly, I was also watching the Texans game. I was at Toyota Center. I was in the Lexus Lounge, partially watching the Texans game, and then also watching the Rock. Anyway, so admittedly, I did miss a good part of the first half. Probably, I watched more of the second half, but I really watched the third quarter. That was the main thing that I paid attention. Anyway, we were up by 20. What do you want from me? I thought we were good. They were guarding Şengün with smaller defender, letting him catch it, get to work with a lot of pressure, on ball pressure by that smaller guy. Either when Şengün spun or whatever, they would bring help late with Giannis or Brook Lopez, which is 2 guys you'd want to bring help with. Crazy that they have those 2 guys. And it really struggled for him, that's something he's going to have to learn, make plays. I think this team being better cutters, and that sort of thing eventually will also help him. I don't think it's just a Şengün problem. I feel like that's something that happened last year a little bit at times, and with KJ Martin, able to throw some lobs. KJ Martin was always in the right place at the right time for cutting and all that stuff. One of my favorite players. But yeah, so Shingun, I mean, it wasn't great. It was not bad by any means. It was a great bounce back game. Cam looked good. Not great first half, I believe, but hit some threes. He made some strong moves to the basket. He posted up Damian Lillard. With at his size, something that I wouldn't mind him seeing developing even more in the post game because he's going to be, if he plays that two spot or even if he plays a three and gets matched up, screens and stuff like him having a post game um, to take advantage of those smaller two guards and point guards. Um, it's going to be good for him. I think that's something. He's so big, just physically, just for a rookie. It's 19-year-old rookie. That's something I think he can develop and really be unstoppable in those mismatches. Kind of similar to like Dylan Brooks does. Dylan Brooks doesn't have a whole lot of post moves, but he knows he's bigger than those smaller guys that gets switched on fast breaks. I love when we go fast break and he realizes, oh, I got point guard on me or whatever, and he posts him up and catches the ball and he just turns over his shoulder and bullies his way to the basket. Easy layup. Like that's one of our best offenses right there. It's crazy. So love to see that. Love that to be added to Cam's game. The bench as a whole was amazing. Amma Thompson played amazing. Jeff Green played amazing. Speaking of Jeff Green, I don't know how I almost forgot this, but we went three bigs for a lot of this game to kind of offset the Giannis and Brook Lopez, but still like Jeff Green and Jabari, like they're mobile enough to be able to play that and still give us that versatility, and that was great. Jeff Green is probably the player of the game, I would say. Played amazing. Played gosh, season high 35 minutes or something like that. Like I don't even have to look that up. Like I know it was like 30 some minutes, and I know it's a season high. Like that's not a doubt. That's crazy, and he seems to come up big in these big games. Every time we play Denver, we play LA a little bit. When we play in the Bucks, like games we're playing, top tier teams. That seems to be a guy that we can just count on. And obviously he's a pro's pro, and you'd expect nothing less. But wow, it's impressive that he keeps doing it. Jabari had 14 points, 12 rebounds, looked good, and yeah, we're able to pull this one out. I gotta get better at getting my notes. I have my notes on my phone and not in front of me and stacked. I took notes on my phone. I didn't think about it. I recorded my phone. I'll have to write them down. Bear with me. We're learning. We got a mic. Small improvements. But yes, great week. 3-1. I think they're poised to make, possibly a run. I feel like they have to improve, right? Like they've been growing and going through these changes. Like I feel like they're gonna get hot down the stretch. They're gonna improve, keep improving. Hopefully Dylan Brooks, Tari Easton get healthy. And as the rookies continue to get minutes, hopefully they keep contributing. And maybe we make a trade for a backup big at the trade deadline. We also need some shooting, but I think Cam Whitmore brings some shooting, and he's shown that. He's been killing it. So I think that's an internal problem that we can solve. We need a backup big. Now, Jeff Green is great. I don't think he should go away, but we need a big that complements Shingun, whether similar play style, so like the offense stays the same when he's out, or preferably, so a rim protector. Really just somebody playable. Get rid of Jock Landell, and our backup center being Jeff Green is probably not ideal either. We're playing big teams and such, but yeah, 3-1. I think it's a great week for the Rockets, and I think there's a lot of exciting things to happen in the future. And great week for the Texans. Not a Texans fan too much. I did get to meet D'Amico Ryans, and I think he's a great guy. So, small Texans fan. I am a Cowboys fan at heart. But hey, Texans made the playoffs. I was watching that game in the lounge, like I was saying. It was a great game. CJ Stroud's the real deal. I'm a huge CJ Stroud fan. But moving on, I do think they'll lose to the Browns. Moving on, college football championship. Washington Huskies, Michigan Wolverines. I don't really have a dog in the fight, to be honest with you. If I had to choose, I would choose Washington just because there's no reason at all. I love watching their offense. It's a fun offense. Not like Michael Penix, the big Penix energy, and they're fun to watch. I think they've been underrated, and I watched them play both their games against Oregon, and I just felt like they were counted out both times, and they went and dominated the Pac-12 championship game really, and yeah, I think they're great. We are here in Houston. I definitely feel like I've seen more Michigan fans. I don't know for that to be certain, but Michigan fans seem to be everywhere. But I have a slight favoritism towards the Huskies. No reason why. I just don't like Michigan. All right, college football sometimes is like that. There's so many teams, like you just can't have a reason for everybody. Don't really like Michigan. Don't really like the Big Ten, I guess. I don't know. It's basically the story of two different types of teams, I would say. Washington, high scoring offense, up tempo, deep balls, great quarterback, good receiver. And Michigan, it's a good quarterback. Jalen McCarthy's a good quarterback. Probably be a good NFL quarterback. Their offense just kind of a pro style offense, and they have Blake Corum, good running back, so they kind of control the ball, control the clock, do that sort of thing, and they're good at it, obviously. But I don't know. Go Huskies. Let me know what you think. I don't really care who wins, but I'll be tuned in. And hopefully hopefully we see a good game. That's the most important part. Definitely don't have anybody in the fight, right? Like you just want to see a good game, and that's all I care to see today. Think it'll be good. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the Rockets. I think it's up from here. We do have a little bit of a tough schedule in January, I believe. I think we get through that. Get the All-Star break. Hey, vote Şengün for All-Star. Vote Şengün for the All-Star game. I don't know if it'll matter. I don't think he's going to make a starter, but hey, it's worth a shot. Support your boy. It's been a while since the Rockets have had a player that they could really get behind. Also, I want to address one more thing. I'm not very active on Rockets Twitter. Very quiet. I just don't tweet a lot. I retweet and like some things, but I'm not a huge tweeter about it. I need to. Definitely want a podcast. But because the Rockets have all of a sudden been bad for a few years, when you're a bad team, you pick a player and you get behind them, and you will freaking back that player to the end of the earth. You don't care if he's playing good or bad. You're like, they need to give him the ball. That's what Rockets Twitter has come to, and there's so much disagreement, freaking all over the internet because Jalen Green, Şengün fans. I am a huge Şengün fan. I said Şengün was the best player on this team in preseason of last year. I had watched 2 preseason games. Like Şengün's the best player. What are we doing? And yeah, you're like, well, why did you say his rookie year? Because I wasn't a Rockets fan his rookie year. Okay, I just became a Rockets fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. Situations change, and now I've not missed a Rockets game in 2 years. So, okay, I've missed 3 Rockets games in 2 years. So, all that to say, I'm the biggest Şengün fan. I will tell you if he plays bad. All right, he deservedly got benched. I don't remember what game it was. He played bad, didn't play horrible. Played a pretty bad game. It's pretty horrible against Minnesota. He wasn't great against the Bucks. His defense was actually really good. I didn't touch on that. Good defense on Giannis. That was quite a mismatch. When Giannis. Sorry, got a call there. Uh, where was I? Point is, can we all just get along? We're good now. Don't pick a player and defend him like, oh, Jalen Green, Shingu. Don't pick a player and be this freaking stan. Like, freaking support the Rockets. Who cares? Rant over. Catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.